Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I should say good morning. I guess it is still morning, 10 a.m., and we're ready to go here with our first baseball game of the season. A-Town and Macomb High. I'm Dwayne Hulett. And you see the first pitch plunked right off the bat by Jack Duncan is A-Town's Dawson Fenton. He's going to be a runner on first base. Next up for A-Town is going to be Jaden Roedifer. He wears number 17, the center fielder for the Tornadoes. A little bit of wind today. You'll be able to hear that in the microphone. That's one of the reasons why we try not to do a lot of spring stuff, because the wind is pretty bad, it seems like, in the spring. We'll keep it to a minimum as much as possible. Jack Duncan, the Western Illinois University signee, on the mound, and he gets the strike. As we have a runner on first base, nobody out here in the top of the first inning. It is center fielder Jaden Roedifer at the plate for the Tornadoes, and throwing back to first base to get Fenton back closer to the bag was Duncan. Over at first base for the Bombers, Landon Lambert wears number 25. There's pitch number 2. It's an 0-2 count on Roedifer. First pitch got away from Duncan, plunked Fenton right in the middle of the back. He's on first base, but it's been 2 straight strikes since then and a throw to first. That one got away from Duncan a little bit. High and inside. Ball 1. 1-2's the count. Fenton taking a pretty good lead off of first base this time. See if he's thinking about going. He's kind of leaning back towards first, so I'm guessing he's not. That ball's outside. Evens count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Once again, nobody out. Runner on first here, top of the first inning. A-Town Tornadoes in the house to play the Macomb High Bombers this morning in a Prairie Land Conference matchup. And a swing and a miss. Strikeout, out number 1 for the Tornadoes. Coming to the plate now, the shortstop wearing number 3, Kellen Hook. Duncan has a hit by a pitch and a strikeout thus far on 6 pitches. And back to first he goes again. Fenton dives in head first, keeping him close there. Once again, Jack Duncan going to pitch at Western Illinois University next year, or at least he signed to play there. I don't know if he'll redshirt or play. There's a strike on the outside corner. 0-1's the count. And outside, painting the corner on Kellen Hook, the shortstop for the Tornadoes. First one got the corner, second one didn't, so it's 1-1 on the count. 1 out, 1 on here in the top of the first inning. And back to first again. Not really close to getting Fenton over there, just more or less to keep him honest a little bit here. Just joining us, Fenton got plunked in the middle of the back, and there it fakes the go, and if that was a hit and run or not, but that was high and inside, and Hook swung at it anyway. It ate him up, and it's 1-2. Fenton faked the leave, but came back. So Duncan ahead in the count again here. He was up 0-2 on Roedifer before evening it at 2-2 before the strikeout. Pop fly, center field. Going back and center is Hunter Wilson. He makes the catch, no tag. Runner will go back to first and Fenton. And that's out number 2. Steven Stuffelbeam, very good catcher behind the plate for the Bombers. So Fenton has not been able to get away from first base here after getting hit by a pitch early. 2 up, 2 down since then, and that's a ball outside. 1-0 is the count. And back to first he goes again. Fenton was leaning a little more that time. Play still wasn't close, but he got back in plenty of time. But that lead is getting a little bigger and a little bigger on every pitch, it seems like. Still 1-0. There he goes this time. Hit and run, and a foul ball goes back to the concession stand. Evens the count at 1-1. At the plate, Carter Redford. Where's number 16? He's the left fielder for the Tornadoes. Whoa, high and inside. If Redfern, that was so high, he didn't hardly have to get out of the way. Brings it to 2-1. Fenton tried to go a little earlier. The lead is a lot shorter now. He took a pretty big lead when he left earlier. That one was about a step shorter that time. After the throw over, though, he gets back out to a better lead. We'll see if he tries to go this time. He will not. Pop fly right field. It's going to be short. Coming in to make the catch for the Bombers is the right fielder, Brady Baker. It's an F9, and it's 4 up, 3 down after the hit by a pitch on the first pitch. We end the first inning here from Phil Bradley Field at Macomb High School. As we end inning number 1, I gotta get used to the doing the stats here for the baseball, as we're again doing our first baseball game of the season. See if we can get this thing working right here. There we go. I think we got it now. Bottom of the first coming up here from Phil Bradley Field. It's always the first game of the year. Is a little bit of learning curve here, so we apologize. Again, it's the A-Town Tornadoes and the Macomb High Bombers here. No runs, no hits, 1 left. No errors in the top of the first for the Bombers. And no runs. Again, the only base runner a hit by a pitch on the opening pitch of the game. Dawson Fenton tried to go a couple times. Both times they were either hitting runs or the batter at least swung at the ball. Foul balled and sending back to first base. So we're getting ready to go here with bottom half of the first inning. First 3 batters for the Bombers are going to be the catcher, number 4, Steven Stuffelbeam. Left fielder, number 8, Drew Watson, will bat second. And the starting pitcher, number 12, Jack Duncan, will be the first up for the Bombers. Drew Fenton will be, or Dawson Fenton, excuse me. Guy got plunked to start the game, will be the starting pitcher for the Tornadoes. Coming down with one, and we'll have our first batter of the bottom of the inning for Steven Stuffelbeam, the Bombers catcher. He's a good one. Going to guess that Fenton won't want to start with a hit by a pitch like Duncan did, but we'll see what happens here. Crowding the plate a little bit of Stuffelbeam. Here's the pitch. Popped up, foul, out of play, left side. And it's going to be out of play. 0-1 is the count. Stuffelbeam's second pitch outside, evens the count at 1-1. Dawson Fenton on the mound for the Tornadoes. the catcher, Jace Featherland. He's behind the plate. At least that's the lineup I got, but the number may not be right. One and two after the foul ball. Ground ball, left side, goes to the shortstop. Shortstop throw to first in time. A 6-3 put out for out number one. Nice play over there by Kellen Hook. Throwing across the field to Evan McDormand. McDormand, the first baseman. Second baseman is Dre Anderson. He'll be pitch hit for by Jacob Hall a little later in the lineup. Drew Watson at the plate. Swing and a foul ball straight to the screen. Strike one. Fenton's next offering. High and outside. Ball one. 1-1's the count. Third baseman for the Tornadoes, Drew Fouch. He'll wear number 13, bat sixth in the lineup. Watson, nice swing, but that one's going to be fouled back, and hopefully it doesn't hit my truck. Parked back there. I should have parked in a better spot, shouldn't I? Did you park on the other side of me so you wouldn't get hit? Yeah, I thought about that, but I was too lazy to carry my stuff any farther. Oh, a swing and a miss. It's in the dirt. It's going to be a play at first now. Featherland throws down and gets Watson out on the swinging dropped third strike. Jack Duncan coming to the plate now. Drew Watson chased one low and outside. It got in the dirt. Featherland did a good job of blocking it, though, and got inside. Made an easy play at first base. That ball curved in. It looked like it was going to be way inside, but it curved back in a little high, though. 1-0 is the count. Strike one on the outside corner from Fenton. Featherland, a good job of two up, two down thus far in the bottom of the first inning. Swing and a foul back out of play. 2-2's the count. Bombers taking better cuts here, but not having any more success than A-Town. It seems like they've had better looks at the ball, but have fouled a lot of stuff off. That one's outside, full count. First full count of the game here between the two pitchers. As Dawson Fenton on the mound for the Tornadoes. Jack Duncan, the starting pitcher for the Bombers, in the box right now from the right side. And that one's outside, low. And our first base runner of the game for the Bombers is Jack Duncan on a walk. Connor Watson stepping to the plate now. The senior who just announced that he'll be playing basketball at John Wood Community College down in Quincy for the Trailblazers. Ball's low in the dirt, dug up by Featherland. Another one in the dirt. Duncan's going to take off this time. Featherland throws down. It's overthrown, and Duncan's there standing up. He'll advance to second on a wild pitch in the dirt. Last two or three pitches, or actually last 4 of 5 pitches for Dawson Fenton have been in the dirt. Featherland's done a good job of keeping him ahead of him, but good reaction by Jack Duncan gets him to second. Now another foul ball out of play behind us. Makes it 2-2. Ball high. Maybe 3-1. I was off on that. It is 3-1. Duncan on second. First runner that either team's had in scoring positions. Here we're in the bottom of the first inning. Fenton's next pitch. Strike. Painted the outside corner. Watson wanted a walk. Actually turned around to toss the bat. Not so fast, young man. Full count here. Second batter in a row. It's been a full count for Dawson Fenton. See if Connor Watson can make something happen or draw another walk, as Duncan drew a walk in his last at bat. Both teams have had one base runner to this point. Low and outside. Again, good job of blocking a pitch in the dirt by Jace Featherland, but there's runners on first and second now with 2 outs. Coming to the plate now for the Bombers is going to be number 11, Brady Baker. He caught the third out last inning. 2 down for the Bombers, 2 on. No hits yet for either team. That ball's low again for Dawson Fenton. Connor Watson getting a big lead over there at first base. He's barely being held on by McDormand. McDormand scoots up, and that ball's high over the head of Baker to the fence, and both runners advance to second and third, respectively. So Dawson Fenton wanting a different baseball here. Took a pretty good shot to the fence, as I don't know that it ever came down before it got to the fence. 2-0's the count. Fenton's going to have to look for the strike zone here. Baker in charge at the plate. That one's high. 3-0. First 2 walks were full count walks. This one is 3-0. And it looked like Baker taking all the way there brings the count to 3-1. Ball inside, walks Baker. Bases loaded for Braden Holdhouse. The sophomore, one of the best athletes here at Macomb High. If you're watching, share this link. We didn't get a chance to share it out before the game. Strike 1. 0-1's the count here. Again, 2 out, 3 on. Bases are chock full of Bombers for Braden Holdhouse. That one's in the dirt past Featherland. 1 run is going to score. Everybody else will advance on the wild pitch. Featherland has blocked about 10 pitches in the dirt thus far. Bombers get their first run. And a strike. For some reason, it's not letting me put any runs on the scoreboard for the Bombers. That's how the inning's going to end. But not until the Bombers get 1 run. No hits, though. Scored on a wild pitch. And at the end of 1 complete, it's the Bombers 1. A-Town Tornadoes 0. We'll take a break. We'll be back on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH, in just a couple minutes.
At Western Illinois University, Leathernecks don't just blend in. Our purple stands out. Our students are innovative, creative, and resilient. At WIU, there's limitless potential, with campuses in Macomb, the Quad Cities, and online. Visit wiu.edu/potential to become a Leatherneck and get an education that stands out.
I went through MDH when we were trying to get pregnant. We were struggling the first year, and then when we got pregnant, I stayed at MDH and through labor and now for pediatrics. My experience was nothing short of phenomenal. I was met with amazing staff members who helped me through concerns that I had when she was first born, helping me learn how to be a new mom. It was really reassuring and comforting knowing that I had so much support and kindness around me. My entire pregnancy at MDH was amazing.
Sorry, a little dead air there, but we got the scoreboard fixed. That's what we were working on during the commercial break. Top of the second inning here. Jack Duncan starts inning number 2 with a strike. That one's a little low and in the dirt. Stuffelbrink brings it up at the plate. Is the first baseman for the Tornadoes, Evan McDormand. Right back it goes up the middle, and it went off the glove of Duncan through the infield, and a base hit for Evan McDormand. First hit of the game for either team. Runner on first, nobody out, top of the second inning. Drew Fouch coming to the plate now. He's the third baseman for the Tornadoes. Strike right down the middle from Jack Duncan. Jack Duncan not giving McDormand a whole lot of respect over there at first base. Gives him a glance, but that's about it. Swing and a miss right down the middle. Fouch is down 0-2 here. Duncan not here in those first 2 pitches to Fouch. Doesn't show much finesse, just blowing it right down the middle. That one's a little faster, but to the outside, trying to paint the corner. And on the outside, it's ball 1. 1-2's the count. McDormand on first for the Tornadoes. Strike 3, got him looking. Maybe a cutter as it came back in on the outside corner. It looked like it was going to go outside. It kind of curved back in. Designated hitter Jacob Hall coming to the plate now. 1 out, 1 on. Top of the second inning. Line drive. It's going to be a double play ball. Nope. It's going to hit McDormand as he's diving back to the plate. Connor Watson, the shortstop, caught that one for the Bombers. But his throw was a little low, and it caught McDormand sliding back into the bag. Otherwise, Lambert was there. Probably could have been a double play. We got 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. Runner on first still for the Tornadoes. Strike 1. 0-1's the count. Jace Featherland, the catcher, at the plate for the Tornadoes. Kind of in on his hands a little bit, but he's able to foul it off. But it's 0-2 as it comes straight back to the screen. Arnold Brothers Heating and Cooling bringing Bomber Sports to TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH all year long. That curved in. What a pitch by Jack Duncan as that one curves in, and he catches Jacob Hall looking and Jace Featherland looking. So 3 Ks in the inning for Jack Duncan. Nope, 2 Ks, excuse me. There was a line out to short for Jacob Hall. So the first hit of the game comes from Evan McDormand, but the Bombers, again, do not let the leadoff batter advance past first base. And they'll come to the bottom of the second inning with a 1-0 lead here. Hunter Wilson, Trevor Krebs, and Landon Lambert due up for the Bombers in the bottom of the second inning. Game being brought to you by Arnold Brothers Heating and Cooling. Since 1960, Arnold Brothers Heating and Cooling has provided the greater Macomb area with expert sales, service, and installation of quality home comfort systems. Call your local Carrier dealer today at 309-833-2852. Find out how Arnold Brothers Heating and Cooling delivers 365 days of indoor comfort. And the Old Dairy, located at 210 South Lafayette Street in Macomb, serving soup, salad, sandwiches, homemade desserts, Blue Bunny ice cream, and a full-service coffee bar. Breakfast served all day, and they have free Wi-Fi. Visit them online at www.olddairymacomb.com or call 309-837-6700 for your takeout. Once again, heading to the bottom of the second inning. Dawson Fenton on the rubber for the Tornadoes. Jace Featherland behind the plate. Evan McDormand, the only base hit of the game, is at first base. Second base is Dre Anderson. Third base, Drew Fouch. Left field is Carter Redfern. Center field, Jaden Rotifer. And playing right field, Justin Keener. Stepping to the plate, Hunter Wilson, the center fielder for the Bombers. Hunter Wilson backed out, but got the ball to the shortstop. 6-3 putout on the first pitch for Dawson Fenton. He needs quite a bit of that, actually. He had 2 full counts and a walk in the first inning, and he struck out a couple, so he's hit pretty high on the pitch count in inning number 1. He needs to get a few easy outs here from the pitch count department. That one's outside, though, and in the dirt, and Jace Featherland does a good job keeping it in front of him, and it's 1-0. At the plate for the Bombers, the third baseman, number 19, Trevor Krebs. Again, outside. Featherland did his best to try to frame that back in, pulled it in real quick. Umpire having no part of that, though. It's 2-0 to Krebs. Krebs is going to foul that one off, and it actually got stuck in the fence. So they're down 1 baseball. 2-1's the count. Low and outside again. 3-1. Dawson Fenton having a little trouble finding the strike zone here. He walked 3 batters in the first inning. And full count now, as that one was low in the strike zone, but right down the middle of the plate. Trevor Krebs didn't like it. He's going to have to like the next one, though, as it's a full count. And a swing and a miss. 6-pitch strikeout for Dawson Fenton. And the number 9 hitter coming to the plate, number 25, the first baseman, Landon Lambert for the Bombers. 2 down here in the bottom of the second inning. That one gets to the fence. Ball low, evens the count at 1-1. Steven Stufflebeam due up next for the Bombers. He's the leadoff hitter. Standing over there with the shin guards on. Partially ready to hit. Lambert. Oh, that was just outside. That was a strike earlier. Lambert luckily taking a pitch there. That's a strike. Evens the count at 2-2. Well, they're saying 3-1, excuse me. 3-1. That's a hit left field. It's got over the head of the left fielder. It's going to roll all the way to the fence. Lambert rounds first, looking for second. He's going to be in with a stand-up double for the first baseman for the Bombers. So that brings Steven Stuffelbeam to the plate with a runner in scoring position after Lambert's double. First hit for the Bombers, actually. They had 3 base runners in the first inning, but all thanks to walks. So Dawson Fenton, still high in the pitch count here. Stuffelbeam, that one's in the dirt. Lambert nearly a half base path lead, but as he started going there, but he came back. No throw either way, and that one's in the dirt again, and again Featherland has to block it. He does a good job of coming up with it. And it's a 2-0 count. 2 outs, 1 on. That's a line drive up the middle. It's going to be over the head. Oh, he made the catch. The center fielder going back to make a catch. Jaden Rodefer took a couple steps in and then had to sprint back, but he got the catch, and that's going to end the inning. As Stuffelbeam 0 for 2 on the game. Ends inning number 2. No runs, no hits. No errors, 1 left, and at the end of 2 complete, the Bombers lead the Tornadoes 1-0. We'll take a break, and we'll be back here on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH. You're watching Arnold Brother coverage of Macomb High Sports on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH.
It was the community that really drew me back to Macomb. I'm from a small community, and I'm from a farm family, and ultimately I always wanted to practice in a place like that, and I felt that I had the ability to connect to people who with a similar background from me, and the fact that the staff members at the hospital and the support, all the support staff at the hospital was also focused with the goal of patient care. It felt like it just all came hammered at home for me.
At Western Illinois University, Leathernecks don't just blend in. Our purple stands out. Our students are innovative, creative, and resilient. At WIU, there is limitless potential, with campuses in Macomb, the Quad Cities, and online. Visit wiu.edu/potential to become a Leatherneck and get an education that stands out.
It was the community that really drew me back to Macomb. I'm from a small community, and I'm from a farm family, and ultimately I always wanted to practice in a place like that, and I felt that I had the ability to connect to people who with a similar background from me, and the fact that the staff members at the hospital and the support, all the support staff at the hospital was also focused with the goal of patient care. It felt like it just all came hammered at home for me.
And welcome back to Macomb High School, top of the 3rd inning. Let me make sure I don't have that right. Let me make sure I get that here. Keeping track of everything here on the scoreboard for baseball seems to be a little bit of a problem for me. Coach Boehner.
Hey.
Can I still call you Coach Boehner?
Sure.
Coach Boehner is on the headset with us now. It's at the plate for the Tornadoes, the number 9 hitter, Justin Keener. So it's his first at bat. We're 1-1, and well, that might be the first foul ball they've hit.
Yeah,
I think
Macomb's hit a bunch, but
yeah, they haven't.
not A-Town yet.
A-Town hasn't got the bat on the ball a ton, but they've had the leadoff hitter on in both innings, and that's not something you want to see as a baseball coach, is it?
No. I really like what Jack's doing though. He's attacking the zone with his fastball, and I know his first few outings of the year he's been high pitch count, so it's nice to see that staying down here.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Dawson Fenton, the starting pitcher for A-Town. He's got through 2 innings, only giving up 1 run. There's a strike, brings it to a full count. He is way up in the pinch count, though.
Yeah, and that I think that's the key to any good team is you wear down the starter and you try to get in the bullpen. And by the time Saturday rolls around, a lot of times people don't have pitching left. So if you can do that, you give yourself a good chance late in the game.
Well, that was a high fastball, strike 3 on a swing and a miss, and it's going to be the top of the order back up, including Dawson Fenton, the starting pitcher, who got plunked right in the middle of the back on the first pitch of the game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but I always said, that deceptive hard fastball that gets a little out of.
Yeah.
Well, he went right at him again. Not that he's meaning to, folks, but
that was a slider that just got away from there.
Yeah, I saw that early in the game, or at least in the last inning. You were talking about attacking with the fastball. Jack was really just the first 2 or 3 hitters of that inning. First 2 hitters of that inning really was all fastball.
Yeah, and I think when he establishes that fastball, that slider gets much more effective, and it keeps his pitch count down too, which is something he needs to do a little bit better job of, so he can get through more than 4 innings. So I like to see him doing that. Yeah,
the pitch count rules, while needed, are still something to get used to, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's one of the bigger challenges now that coaches have to navigate.
2-1's the count. That ball got inside. Baker's going to give it a chase. Oh, actually, it's going to be coming over to make a nice play for the Bombers is Braden Holdhouse from his second base position, catching it deep behind first base for out number 1. Actually, out number 2.
And that's why you want to be athletic up the middle right there, so those middle guys can go get a lot of stuff. You saw it right there with Braden.
There ain't a whole lot of people in this high school, I don't think, that are more athletic than him, are there?
No, not many.
And he's good at pretty much whatever he wants to play,
yes,
too. He's one of those kids. He does everything well. Inside, 1-0's the count. I think he could probably be a swimmer or something if he wanted to. I'm not sure, but
he's got the lean look for it.
He's got the length, that's for sure. Outside, 2-0's the count. One of the strikeout pitches in the last inning for Duncan was it came back in. Is that a cut? I mean, it's a cutter of some sort, but what's he throwing to get that to come back towards the right-handed batter?
That's a little just two-seam fastball that he throws, and he gets pretty good run on it that goes back in on a righty.
Yeah, it came from – I thought sure it was going to be a ball and curved right over the outside corner. And there's one right there. Brings the count to 3-1. At the plate for the Tornadoes, the center fielder made made to be an exciting catch. There's a big hop to third base. Throw across the field high and to the fence. An error on the throw. Now back to first. That was good job back there. I think Stufflebeam was down there covering behind, just like a catcher's supposed to do, right?
That's what you do. You run to the fence, and if that happens, maybe you got a chance at it. So, and you saw the right fielder both there, so that's good hustle on both parts.
Is that an error? That was an error, wasn't it?
I'd say that's an error. Yeah. Tough hop, but I still think if the throw's there, he beats it, or he gets him.
Yeah, I agree. So, E5 on the Bombers, and it's going to be the first runner to get past first base here in inning number 3, as that's a strike for Duncan on Kellen Hook, the number 3 hitter, shortstop for the Tornadoes. He's at the plate. Jaden Rotifer. Boy, that curved back across, but
a little low.
Yeah, it came in a little low, and it's going to be a 1-1 count. Just a 1-0 lead for the Bombers here as we're at the top of the third inning. That one's in the dirt. A couple pretty good catchers here today, too.
Yeah, both guys do a really nice job on the ball in the dirt.
Duncan, a little trouble with the throw back from Stufflebeam there. Unfortunately, Rotifer is kind of one of those places where you're already heading back, right? You can't take advantage of something like that, really. But that's what, if you're in Little League, you probably go on
you're
that.
You're going on that, yeah.
But this isn't Little League.
No, it's not.
When I used to coach with Coach Arnold, his big thing was you're not playing Little League anymore. I mean, he'd say that a lot. And while you might not, like a lot of people may not grasp that, if you're around these kids, that really is a saying that means something at this level.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And another walk.
That's why those 2-out walks and 2-out errors just kill you, because here's now an extra, 10 to 12 pitches he's going to have to throw, which is, maybe shortening the game an inning for him.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets that out at first base, he doesn't throw those 5 pitches right there, right?
Right, and now you're going to throw another probably 3 to 5 here.
That's what – I mean, you never want to walk people, but when in that first inning when Fenton was walking the Bombers, it was full count, full count, right?
Yeah.
And it's bad enough you walk them, but then you throw 2 or 3 strikes in the process, including a foul ball or whatever, and
right.
So it becomes a 7 or 8 pitch walk rather than a 4 pitch walk. And when you're talking pitch count, that's actually a big deal. The ball was low. Jack's been shaking his arm a little bit.
He does that a lot. It's just kind of I think a habit for him. It's
his thing.
His thing, yeah.
There's up the middle. It's going to be, Watson got a glove on it but couldn't do anything with it. It's going to load the bases. That's a single, isn't it?
That's a single, yeah. That's also a play you put an asterisk by, because if he doesn't get a glove on that, it's 1-1 right now. And, just keeping that ball in the infield saves Jack a run.
Yeah, that's he came a long way because he was going over to cover second base, and he came a long way to get to that. It wasn't a very hard hit ball, really, but it was right about the perfect spot. Third baseman couldn't get to it, and Watson got a glove on it but couldn't do anything with it. And in that situation with a third baseman going over to try to cover it anyway, even if Watson gets it, there's nothing he can do with it.
No. Your only play is 3, and they're both there.
And 0-2 the count. That one on McDormand, who got the first base hit of the game, actually the only base hit of the game for the Tornadoes to this point.
Really shading them to the opposite field.
Yeah, they're not giving him much bat speed respect, are they?
No, they're not. And of course, with Jack, I mean, that's pretty normal.
That goes right up the middle, and Duncan's just going to beat him to the bag. I guess you take it out, all concerns out when you can beat him to the bag, right?
That's actually something we always worked on was back to the pitcher. If you can run it over, do it. You know how many pitchers have trouble throwing the ball from the mound to first base. It's a lot of them.
Yeah, and just that, and then you also have to catch the ball, and your foot has to be on the bag. There's a lot more to it than just the little toss. But Duncan got out of the inning. It didn't cost him, like you said, about 4 or 5 more pitches though. So bases were left loaded there as they got a single, an infield single, an error, which got the 2 runners to follow. But the big play by Connor Watson kept the ball in the infield and kept a run from scoring, and that asterisk is huge now that you brought it up, isn't it?
That's a big play that nobody will talk about.
So the Bombers go into the bottom of the 3rd inning, leading 1-0. And as you watch the cuts, as I've watched the cuts and the attack at the plate, Bombers hitters seem to be a lot more offensive-minded a little bit. It seems like they're getting after Fenton a little more than the Tornadoes are getting after Duncan.
I would agree there. And, I think Jack's been a little bit effectively wild too, so it's hard to get in there and dig in. But, I think that's always the best approach is if you're thinking about swinging, you'll end up taking the good pitches too, and that's something we've always tried to instill in hitters' heads.
Well, that's you mentioned effectively wild. I say that quite a bit with every kind of baseball, softball. It really doesn't matter. Even slow pitch. If you're effectively wild and they don't know if it's going to be a strike, it's really a big part of what can be the game, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And you get just like fielders and everybody can get on their heels. Hitters get on their heels too, just not knowing what to expect. When you got a guy around the plate all the time, it's sometimes easier to hit.
So we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Bombers have their 2, 3, 4 hitters to start. Drew Watson will be the leadoff hitter here in inning number 3. It's kind of funny, just when people are probably sick of hearing a Watson name at Macomb, Drew's coming, and he's pretty much just as good as his brother, isn't he?
4 more years of it. Not going away.
Good news for Connor, though, going to play basketball at John Wood Community College.
Yeah, I told him it's a good choice. I can go watch it there, too.
Little outside. Fenton has really tried to paint that corner the whole day, hasn't he?
Yep.
Does that surprise you at all? Because it seems like a lot of the Bombers are cheating the inside of the box. I mean, Seems to me that I'd want to scoot him back if I was going to want to use that outside corner. I'd try to scoot him back a little bit occasionally, right?
I think they're trying to take away that outside corner, though.
Yeah. But, I mean, obviously, I think that's what they want to do. But if you're just kind of playing into their hand to not ever scoot him back.
If you don't throw inside and move him off the plate like that a little bit.
It was a little high. Watson's going to foul it off. First strike of the at-bat. 2-1's the count. I don't keep pitch count. I probably should do that. There's a line drive. I think it's going to drop, and it will. A single for Drew Watson. Leadoff hitter on, and that's actually the first time the leadoff hitter's been on for the Bombers.
Really?
The Tornadoes had done it the first 2 innings. The Bombers didn't. This time the Tornadoes didn't, and the Bombers did. So,
well, I would expect to see some action here at first base if I'm Coach Lambert over there.
Dawson Fenton didn't hardly even get on the rubber before he threw over to first base that time. Drew is quick, and he'll take some leads over there, I would imagine. To the plate, in the dirt. Featherland snagged that one that was so far inside, not where he's expecting it. He couldn't even get over to slide in front of it.
That's why they always say you get the glove there first. Glove first, and the body follows.
He's done a great job. There's a lot of pitches in the dirt today.
There has been.
What did the umpire hold his hand up for?
I think he thought it was a dead ball. It hit him, but they maybe have changed their mind. Jack did not act like it got him.
No, they're not going to send him to first base. So, and there was no throw to second. I'm surprised they didn't make. Well, that time he did get him. I was kind of surprised they didn't send Watson back to first base.
Yeah, I was too.
So Connor Watson stepping to the plate now. He's the cleanup hitter for the Bombers. And it's kind of funny. You see Connor and you see Jack. You expect Jack to kind of be the big cleanup hitter, right?
Right.
And Connor comes up and has the cleanup hitter, but that's high and inside, and the ball's going to be thrown down to third. But Watson of the Drew variety is there
Kind of see
very
that
easily.
coming. Drew just kept his feet moving. That's usually a pretty good sign to steal.
And the infield in now. I don't think you're gonna see Connor Watson bunt here probably,
No, I would
but
not expect that.
it goes to the third base, throw across in time. Watson is going to be thrown out on a 5-3 put out for out number 1.
I think the reason that Connor's probably hit behind Jack, though, is to provide a little protection for him so that people pitch to Jack. That's a problem at times. Sometimes you got your best bat and nobody behind him to make the team respect him.
Yeah, if you're Cardinals fans, I think they did that with Pujols a lot,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Yep.
A whole lot back in the day when he was really good with the Cardinals. He'd bat third instead of fourth.
Yep.
Plus, it gets him an extra at bat
Yeah,
sometimes,
that's
right?
another- Yep.
That ball's high and inside, and Watson's going to score on the wild pitch. You can only ask the catcher to do so much, right?
Some of those are not catchable.
And that's like a really tough position, right, for a catcher to be in, is
Yes.
having to catch that many balls in the dirt or higher.
Yep.
And that's what's kind of been a problem for Dawson, is that most of the pitches are low and outside, but the ones that go high are high and inside.
Right. When you're missing up and away, or up and in and low and away, that's tough to catch.
That's high, deep left field. It's going to fall short. Going to be caught, but a sacrifice fly coming as Duncan's going to score. Brady Baker gets the sac fly.
Good AB by Brady.
And Duncan is going to score. Going to make it 3-0 Bombers. So the Bombers take advantage, right, Coach, of the leadoff single.
That's right.
As the Tornadoes weren't able to take advantage of that. See, that's exactly what we're talking about, right? The low outside, way the heck outside, and then when you're used to that, and then the high inside is, the opposite of where you're looking.
That generally means the pitcher is running away from their arm or falling forward, and so their arm drags. And when that happens, you tend to spike things down, or your arm drags, and then it goes up and in. So tends to be, if you're seeing that, that's usually what it is.
Braden Holthouse at the plate. He's 0 for 1 in the game, a strikeout in the first inning. He's going to get a ground ball to second here, and he'll be put out on a 4-3 put out. Finish the inning 0 for 2, but the Bombers get a couple runs. No runs, or 2 runs on, was it 2 hits? No, just one hit, wasn't it?
1 hit, yep.
2 runs on 1 hit.
1 hit,
Nobody left. No errors actually either. So
Nope.
I guess that's been. It's still kind of early. There's been a lot of play, and then you don't get to play because of weather. Not a lot of errors in this game. They have been putting stuff in play. Not a lot of errors.
Yeah.
Is this kind of where you want to be as a coach at this point in the season?
Yeah, I always tried to break the season down into like thirds, and basically it was you had your preseason practice till April 1st was kind of your try to feel things out, and then once you hit April, you're usually getting your conference season. You want to be trying to figure out your lineup and everything, just where everything's going to be, and then you hit May, and it's kind of you're getting ready for the postseason. So I think for this year it's been really difficult for teams with the weather. They haven't been able to practice on the field, so you've seen a lot more balls being booted and things that might not normally happen because they haven't had the reps.
Well, and especially that bad hop at third base, right? Ended up being a throwing error, but
Yeah.
those are the things you can practice inside
Right.
and get ground balls off a gym floor all you want to,
Yeah,
right?
But it's not the same.
You never get to see that bad hop,
No,
right?
No, that doesn't happen.
And it's
And the ground's in a strange place right now. You know, the grass hasn't quite taken, and
yeah. How much harder is it? You know, baseball's got the grass infields predominantly. Softball plays on a dirt infield.
Yep.
How much harder is grass? I mean, it slows the ball down. Ball 1 to open the second or the 4th inning.
I think it depends on the surface, really. If it's bad grass, it's tough.
Drew Fouch at the plate. Trevor Krebs coming from his third base position to get the 5-3 put out.
I think Trevor started the year playing second, but he looks a little more comfortable to me at third.
Yeah, he's done a pretty good job there.
Yes.
I mean, we credited him with the throwing error, but that fielding, just catching that ball on that
Yeah.
bad hop was pretty good.
Yep.
There's a foul ball out of play on 1's account. Anyway, back to do you get more true hops off good groomed dirt, or is
Yeah.
grass better?
Yeah, I mean the ball stays down a little better usually off of dirt.
Is the grass for baseball just to slow baseballs down? I mean, how did that ever happen? Do you have any idea?
I don't know.
I don't either. I've always wondered why they, because I mean, maybe it's because I hate to mow, but I
Yeah.
would have thought a dirt diamond would have always been a lot easier
Yep.
to take care of, right?
No, I like the way the grass looks a lot better.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, but you know, Arnie's out there. We put all that new grass infield in when I was there. He's out there push mows the infield all the time.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yep.
it's another ball, 3-1. Duncan, a little struggling here.
Yeah, we had to do that here too. New grass.
Second base, Holthouse. Lambert on a 4-3 put out for Jacob Hall. Jacob Hall's 0 for 2 on the night. He lined to short in his first at bat. Jace Featherland coming to the plate now, the catcher, who has to be getting worn out behind the plate. Struck out looking in his first at bat in the second inning. Duncan doing a little better on the pinch count here this inning thus far.
This is
And Holthouse going to
exactly
get a
what
little
you
more
want.
action. And another 4-3 put out. And that's what you're talking about, right, with Duncan, is everything right side of the infield there.
Yeah. I mean, most people are going to be a little later on him with his velocity. And the other thing Jack runs into sometimes is he gets a lot of swing and miss, so then your pitch count gets elevated too. So innings like that are great for him, to where you get a couple short ABs and really extends them now. It kind of takes away that inning to where we had the 2-out error, and then you had to throw the extra pitches.
So is it 5 days rest? What's the pitch count? Is it 100 or is it 85?
That's 105.
105.
is the max, and then it's tiered from there.
Right.
So I think the next one is 90, and then it goes down to 75. It's about every 15 pitches is another day's rest.
So I mean, if it's a huge game, you use the 105, but then it's 5 days, right?
Yeah. Then you got to go the full.
So it's, I guess you look where, I mean, as a coach, it becomes a whole nother thing to consider, right? You know,
Yeah.
Who do I have coming up? Who are we playing later in the week? Would I like to be able to have him for 2 innings in 3 days rather than having no innings in 3 days, you know?
Yep.
Could I use him as a closer against Lewiston later or Moline or whoever I'm playing, right?
Yep.
So it's like a whole nother thing to think about, right?
And it gets kind of complicated, but, you know, I think the best way to do it is just go game by game. And if you know you got a game you got to win, then you save that guy. But otherwise, you can go in with the best made plans. But if you have long innings, you know, last night here against Canton, they had a couple long innings with Holthouse and had to go into their bullpen a little earlier than normal. So, you know, it kind of took away bullpen guys I'd planned to use today. So that's why you just got to go game by game and kind of set up who you want to go for the next start. But then after that, it's who's ever available today might have to throw.
So we're heading to the bottom of the 4th inning here, as it was a 3-up, 3-down inning for the Bombers in the last inning. This game being brought to you today by Sports Corner at 124. Macomb's original local sports bar is Sports Corner at 124 with a focus on local sports. Catch WIU games and all the area TSSR Game Time live broadcasts at Sports Corner at 124. All while enjoying your favorite cold drink and some of the best food in West Central Illinois. Stop in and say hi at 124 North Randolph Street in Macomb. And Ron LB Auto Sales with locations in Macomb and Augusta. And with 80 years of car sales experience, Ron LB Auto Sales is your hometown go-to for your next car in Macomb on East Jackson Street. So back to Hunter Wilson, who grounded out to short in his last at bat. Takes strike 1. Surprised that Coach Jeter's leaving Western? Or did you see that coming?
I mean,
did you hear about it?
I did hear about it, yeah. You know,
I mean, did you hear it was coming before it was announced?
I think you heard rumors all the time, you know, when he was having good years that it was probably coming eventually.
Hunter Wilson pulling out and swinging. He did that with his ground ball to short, too, but that one fouls back to the screen. Like to see him stay in a little more, right?
Keep your butt underneath you.
That's a pop fly left field. It's going to come in. Made it look exciting, but it's a fly out to left nonetheless. Trevor Krebs struck out in his first at-bat, coming to the plate now for the Bombers. You know, Connor Watson struck out, or no, Drew Watson struck out swinging in the first inning, and Jace Featherland even did a good job with that.
Yes.
You know, blocking it and then getting in the Krebs high fly ball left field. But again, under it one more time is Carter Redfern, and it's another F7.
Hits that just a little lower on the ball, it's probably 4-0.
Landon Lambert. It is Landon, right? Langdon. Well, I couldn't read the writing. It looked like it was L-A-N-Y, and I was like, I don't even know who that is. I couldn't see his hair. I guess I should have looked at his hair, and I didn't know who it was. Langdon Lambert. Another one in the dirt. 2 outs here in the looked like L-A-N-Y. I was like, I don't even know who Landon Lambert is. Pop fly, shallow center. Rutherford making a long run in to get it, but he's there. And 3 up, 3 down for the Bombers as the Tornadoes respond in kind, and it's going to be.
Looks like we got a pitching change.
So we'll see who.
I'm guessing Connor Watson's coming in.
So does that mean Duncan will move somewhere else?
He's at short.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Yep, he is out there. Drew's heading out to center, it looks like. They're really lucky to have a kid like Stufflebeam behind the plate, though, aren't they? I mean, he's been good for several years.
Yes, he has. You know, as a sophomore, we kind of split time with him and another guy, and by the end of the year, it was, you know, pretty apparent we were a little better off with Stufflebeam behind the plate. So, and he's been there ever since.
Yeah, he hits pretty decent, but he's just that's even though he didn't play a lot in basketball, he's that way, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's just got that leadership quality that you need behind the plate.
He's kind of that silent leader, but just extremely hard worker, great kid. Kind of a blue-collar mentality to him.
It's kind of funny. We enter this top of the fifth inning now, right?
Yep.
Top of the fifth, and the Bombers have only had one more batter than the Tornadoes have, but they have 3 runs. It's taking advantage of what you're given, right?
Exactly right. We've scored 2 runs on wild pitches, and 1 on a sac fly.
So what are we going to see different from Watson that we see from Duncan?
Well, you're going to see a lot more breaking balls. Not quite the velocity. Still pretty good, but Connor really pitches off his curveball, and if that's working, then his fastball becomes that much more effective. But he's got one of the better curveballs I've seen from a high school kid in a while.
You see so many catchers throw, and it has a loop to it, right?
Yeah.
We talk about pitcher throwing 2-seam and 4-seam, and a catcher catches the ball and throws the ball, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of really amazing that it ends up as close as it does as often as it does,
Sure.
because everything that a pitcher uses to make a ball curve, a catcher just grabs and throws.
Yes. They try to get a 4-seam grip, but doesn't know what to happen.
Ball's low, ball 1. Did he call that a strike?
He called it the ball, I believe. I thought
he did too. He'll put a signal up here. I think it's 1-0. That's inside.
Yeah,
2-0. Well, that wind is getting harder, I think.
It is.
You wish you wore pants?
No, actually, I'm all right.
I'm cold. I don't know how you're. There was a kid up here earlier when I was setting up that was in shorts. That's a swing and a miss. Strike 1. Oh, my God. It must be nice to be young. It's the only thing I can figure out, because my old self is like, God, it's cold out here. Right field. Baker makes a catch for out number 1. Keener, makes a catch. No, it was Baker. I knew what I was talking about. Keener was the hitter, and he's their right fielder. That's what threw me off. So Dawson Fenton, he's got to be getting close to his pitch count too, doesn't he?
I would say he's approaching it.
I keep thinking I need to keep pitch count just because there's a pitch count rule, right? But
it's a lot more to keep.
So is there a fresh soft game after this?
There is. Yes, there is.
The back in the day when I coached with Coach Arnold, it was a doubleheader for varsity, but I think pitch counts kind of played a role in making that change. Right?
Yeah, it's tough to find teams. You usually have to play the bigger schools if you want to play a doubleheader on a Saturday anymore, just because they have more pitching available.
Right. I mean, there's not very many teams around. I mean, there's probably even years that if they were both meaningful games and you had any coming up during the week, you probably wouldn't want to play doubleheader on Saturday either.
Yeah, yep. But before pitch counts, you didn't really think much about it.
Yeah, because you just went by if the kid's feeling okay, right?
Yeah.
You give them 2 or 3 days after 60 or 80 pitches, and if they feel okay, you go again.
Yep.
There's a walk for Dawson Fenton. So he's been on twice. He's 0 for 1 on the game, but he got hit by a pitch, and now he's walked.
If I'm A-Town here, I'm probably thinking about trying to manufacture some runs.
Now, does that mean steal, bunt?
Steal, bunt, hit and run here. Maybe with 1 out, you're probably not going to bunt, but maybe run or hit and run.
I kind of thought in the first inning that the one time Fenton went that it was a hit and run. He swung at a pitch that wasn't real good and ended up fouling it off.
Might have been. Connor's not the fastest guy to the plate.
High and inside, 1-0. Just heard my first Wild Thing reference of the year.
There'll be many more.
I'm disappointed I think I Love You didn't follow from somebody. Throw to first. Fenton gets back. I was kind of laughing a little bit. McDormand was over there. They didn't hardly even look at him.
No, they did not.
When I was coaching, I was telling that kid, take a huge lead.
Yeah.
You know, they aren't going to throw over there.
No. See if they will.
Yeah, make them. That's the thing is, I when I coached JV, I'd make kids who wouldn't normally do things because they needed to know how to do it right.
Yeah,
but a lot of times, like I was slow when I played softball, like slow pitch softball, and there's a line drive up the middle, actually a pretty high pop fly, and nice catch out there. And Fenton's going to have to go back to first, so 2 outs here. As Jaden Rodefer flew out to center, and that's going to be Kellen Hook to the plate. But I'd kind of hesitate at first and take second base a lot of times because nobody would expect
Right.
the slower guy to try to do that, right?
Gotta bait them into it.
And then I'd always tell people, you know, maybe I'm not going to want you to steal probably to actually steal if I need a steal, but, you know, there's off the end of the bat. Holdout's making some traps, and he gets there and can't field it cleanly.
A lot of English on that ball.
He had to go a long way. Is that a hit? Or is that an error? As a home.
I mean, I would call that an error.
Okay. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to be that guy.
I like Braden, but I think he would agree with us that he should have made that play.
Carter Redfern at the plate with 2 on, 2 out here in the top of the 5th. Whoa. That was the break that you were talking about right there. Redfern actually leaned out on that one, and it curved back in for Watson. The 0-1's to count. As a pitcher, that has to be a great feeling, isn't it?
It is fun.
I mean, I don't know. I never threw a curveball, but I would think that if you can get somebody to lean out on a pitch that curves back over the plate, it has to be fun.
It's a fun feeling.
If you don't smile outwardly, you're smiling inwardly, right?
Yes, yeah.
And Fenton looks like he's going to go, but he comes back. 2-1's the count. Does the wind, when you're throwing curveballs, this wind's kind of blowing left or from his left to right, our right to left as you're watching on TV or on your phone. That's in the dirt. Does that affect the break?
It does, yeah. It does play a role in that.
He's struggling here a little bit to find the strike zone. 3-1
Just
is
like
the count.
If the wind's blowing straight out, it does kind of hold your breaking ball up, give a little more break, but it also has a little negative effect on your fastball.
Oh, Redfern chased that one. That was ball 4 right
Yes,
there.
it
That
was.
would have loaded the bases. And, you know, the thing is the Bombers have really dominated this game, Coach, but they're only 3 runs ahead.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you if you get this guy on, yes, there's 2 outs, but your leading runner, your go-ahead runs at the plate. Stufflebeam tried to frame that one, didn't he? He tried to bring it back, but
it was out, though.
yeah, that's a walk. Got runners on first, second, and third for Evan McDermott. McDermott has 1 of 2 hits for the Tornadoes, a single. And right up the middle, he's got another one. I think it does. It finds its way through a seeing-eye single, and it's going to be a 2-run, 2 RBIs for McDermott. And it's going to leave runners on first and second.
Off the end, but found a hole.
It's not how hard you hit it, it's where it goes, right?
That's right.
So it's what we were talking about, right? I mean, one swing and it's a 1-run game, and anything can happen from here on out, right?
They've had some chances. They finally capitalized.
Drew Fouch at the plate. He lines that one up the middle, but it's going to be caught out in the center field by Hunter Wilson. But the damage done.
New game.
Yes, it's a 1-run game going into the bottom of the 5th. 2 runs on 1 hit again. 2 left, 1 error at the end of 4.5. The Bombers lead the Tornadoes 3-2. We'll take a break and be back on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH right after this.
I chose the MDH OBGYN group because I've heard wonderful things about Dr. Smith. And upon entering the office, I really got along with everybody and got a warm feeling. The staff is warm and inviting and welcoming. It's a small community, so it's a really nice hospital to have here in the rural area. I continue to choose MDH because of the relationships I have. I really enjoy everybody here.
And welcome back to Arnold Brothers Heating and Cooling coverage of Macomb High Sports on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH. And it's still Dawson Fenton on the mound. This has got to be his last inning probably, doesn't it?
I would say he's close.
Nobody down warming up,
No,
so whoever's
not
coming
yet.
in to warm up or coming in to pitch after him is either going to wait till the end of this inning or they're coming in off the field, right?
I didn't see anybody go down in between innings either. So.
Well, we talked a little off air there that the Bombers survived the 2-out error one inning, but they couldn't do it twice.
No, and those 2-out errors and 2-out walks, you have too many of them. Eventually, you're gonna bite it. So that's what happened there.
Yeah, a walk with 1 out, an error, and a walk with 2 outs, and then a single, plated 2. You know, we gave Holthouse that error that you talked about. He ran a long ways, but it really looked like he pulled his head up looking to second base instead of just, I mean, there was 2 outs. He could have just came to first.
It
really looked like he was looking for something else and kind of pulled his eye off the ball a little bit. But like you said, it did have quite a bit of spin on it, too.
It was on a breaking ball off the end of the bat. I mean, those are ones you just got to keep your head down and see it in your glove and flip it to first.
So the Bombers, top of the order, back up. Steven Stufflebeam coming to the plate. He's 0 for 2. Grounded out to short and lined out to center field in his last at bat. So the Bombers had a 3-run cushion going into the top of the 5th inning. They've saw most of that evaporate. They lead by 1 here. Stufflebeam at the plate. Swing and a miss. Strike 1.
Fastball had a really good run to it and back in over the plate.
So I never pitched enough and never threw 2 and 4 seamers, and I never tried to throw a curveball really, but it takes a lot of practice to know if that's going to break on the regular and where to throw it, where you want it. I mean, yeah, I coached some kids, and there was a kid that was a left-hander. He'd throw it to the dugout and it'd curve back to home plate from the fence. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yep.
And you just have to learn that, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it's just picking up release points and figuring out, where that ball's going to go. Like right there, he's starting that ball off the plate already. And if he could start that middle half and get it on the outside, he'd probably get a lot more swing and misses.
So that's a 2-1 count after a couple balls get past the catcher here. Pretty much everybody playing Stufflebeam straight up. There isn't any shading one way or another anywhere on the field. It doesn't look like maybe center a little to the left field, but other than that, they're pretty straight up. It's 3-1 after a swing and a miss on the first pitch.
The last thing you want to do after you kind of get yourself back in the game is walk the leadoff hitter next inning.
That's popped high,
So that's good
short.
pitch.
That's Hook made the catch, but he made it look exciting, didn't he?
I wasn't sure he got it.
You get under. You're always taught get under those, catch those, and he caught it like down here by his hip almost.
So
But doesn't matter how you catch it, I guess.
When you got high sky today, you got wind and you got sun. So
That's going to go up the middle, and that time Hook can't get to it. Kind of a in on the hands, but Drew Watson is going to have his second hit of the day. He's 2 for 3, and he's at first base. He scored a run in inning number 3.
I would anticipate seeing him in action at some point in time here running.
1 out for Jack Duncan. Duncan has a walk and a hit by a pitch, so he's 0 for 0 in the game. And apparently the Tornadoes think the same thing you do. Have you noticed that Dawson Fenton, his throws to the plate a lot of times come like almost right now? That he doesn't get into, he doesn't like have a move to first base every time he's throwing. Well, and as I say that, he does at that time. Maybe that's the reason why he doesn't do it very often. But he hadn't really got into a pitching stance and got ready to throw.
Quick,
He was set and throw instead of even making him think he was going to throw home. But that was
That's the danger of having base runner or base stealers on is you make the pitcher's focus go away from the hitter.
And now you're down by a run, so that pressure probably increases a little bit, right?
Yep, absolutely.
When you're down by 3, you're like, oh, well,
right.
I got to make something happen, but I got to get the batter. When you're down by 1, everything matters
Yep.
now, right?
Pressure ramps up a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right what you said a few minutes ago. If he throws inside or inner half, like you said, it seems like everything is out.
Yeah, everything just a little late on the release point and leaving everything a little bit out.
Now he's doing the whole look back, and never even really looks at the plate until he's throwing.
Again,
as a coach, do you like that, or
it's a comfort thing, really. Some pitchers can do it, some can't.
3-0 on Duncan. It's hard to improve your stats when you're walking all the time.
Yeah. On base gets better.
Maybe your runs scored gets better. And Watson's going to steal on a strike as Duncan was taken all the way, but the steal of third puts Drew Watson on one corner, and Duncan is one pitch away from being at the other corner.
I think he would much rather put one in the gap here and trade places.
High fastball, swing and a miss, brings it to full count. I saw a guy that does a lot of stuff with me for 8-man football.
Mm-hmm.
He's coaching baseball in Dakota, and they had to forfeit a game because of pitch count.
Oh, really?
They missed the pitch count by 10 pitches.
Yep.
And ended up having to forfeit a 17-1 win.
Oh, that happens too.
Foul ball.
It happened a lot the first year they put it in. It's a little less frequent now.
Yeah, I think it's his first year coaching as the head coach, and that's that stinks when that kind of stuff happens,
yes,
right?
Does. Yes.
What do you think about the pitch clock and batter clock in Major League Baseball?
I was in St. Louis last weekend, and I actually went to a spring training game two, and you don't really notice it as a fan. It doesn't play a lot of role.
They say it is speeding the game up.
It does, yeah. I mean, it was a 2-hour and 37-minute game or something.
Suicide squeeze here?
I don't think so with Jacko.
It's a full count anyway.
Yeah,
He wouldn't do it, but. There's the walk. But at the same time, right, if you're in a game where you really need that run, they're not expecting it there, right?
Yep.
That's the other reason when I was coaching, I made everybody bunt. Everybody,
absolutely.
I stand there like, I'm not going to bunt in a game. Slowest kid on team. He's never going to bunt. He's going to bunt if I tell him to bunt.
Yeah. Everybody's got to do it.
There's a foul ball. It's going to get out of play.
We were at, when I was coaching at Western, we were at Long Beach State, and we squeezed with the 3-2 count once. Because the pitcher had really good command. He was around the plate, and, we were playing Long Beach State. We ended up winning the game, too.
Coach Arnold called a suicide squeeze in a tie game in the bottom of the 7th, and we won on a suicide squeeze. And everybody's like, I can't believe he did that. That's why you teach kids to bunt, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
And he was our best hitter. I mean, our best power hitter. He wasn't the best average hitter, but he was the best power hitter. But he could bunt. And if you teach kids to bunt, and they can bunt. Doing the first and third steal call here. It's Featherland goes out. What was your favorite thing to do first and third steal? Defense. Let's go defensively first.
It depends on my catcher. If we could throw, like we had some guys that could really throw, we just threw the guy out at second most of the time, unless we couldn't do it.
And Duncan advances.
A lot of times I read the guy on third. If he's getting real aggressive secondaries, we just snap throw down to third. And you can run the cut play too, but most of the time it was pretty straight. We just threw through.
How about offensively? Do you like the chance to do the first, third steal?
I do. I you know what I really like to do is delayed steal, just because a lot of times on delayed steal the other team didn't know how to run their play against it because they didn't see the guy going right away, and it would create a lot of confusion that way.
Do you ever do the early steal?
Yeah, we did that a couple times too. If you've got a guy on the mound who's really –
That's trouble.
Yeah,
Connor Watson's going to get his first hit. Duncan is going to round, and he's going to come home. A 2-run single for Connor Watson. He's 1 for 2 on the game with 2 RBIs now.
That's one of the reasons right there I don't like bringing the infield in when you got second and third, because it's 2 runs. If you keep the shortstop back there, you give up 1, and you got a chance here to keep it to a 1 or 2-run game.
I mean, that wasn't a very hard hit. If he's charging that and in position to actually do something with it, you may not even get 1 run.
Yep.
I mean, there's a chance to hold him. They got him at first base. Connor Watson on the move to first, gets picked off. I was talking to you and didn't see how close it was.
It was close. Connor may have been in the air. I couldn't tell.
And Coach Lambert going to come down and talk here. There's not you come down and you want explanations, but in baseball there's not a whole lot of, it doesn't do a whole lot of good, does it?
It rarely changes.
Yeah. I mean, in any sport, does it
No.
doesn't really ever change, but sometimes it makes you feel better, right?
Yeah.
High. But the Bombers get 2 nonetheless, even though Watson gets thrown out at first base. The damage was done. There's a strike. That was a huge inning here for the Bombers in the bottom of the 5th when they can get those 2 runs back they gave up,
that's
right?
What you got to do. You got to respond. Even if you get 1 there, you're.
Brady Baker, the right fielder, back at the plate. He's down 1 and 2. He's got no at bats. A sac fly for an RBI and a walk. That's a foul tip strikeout for out number 3.
3 of his better pitches right there. All 3 were sharp and had good late movement to him.
So we'll have to watch here and see if anybody goes down to warm up for the Tornadoes. But I mean, you could go through and kind of count the pitches here, but man, he's way up there on pitches, I would think.
He had the 1 short inning, but other than that, they've all been. He's had to labor through a lot of them.
5 innings. He's had a couple, like the last inning was a 3-up, 3-down inning that was pretty short on fly balls, which helped him a little bit, but he's got to be over 85.
Oh, yeah.
90.
Yeah, I would say he's pushing. And there's people walking down to the pin right now, it looks like.
Yep. That they are. We'll probably see a different pitcher. Watson back on the mound for the Bombers here. And this is where, the home team not having to bat the home team having to pitch is, you can't ever really get away. The visiting team, if you're losing, you actually save a half inning,
Yes,
right?
You do. Yep.
I mean,
yeah.
It's in a weird way. It's if you're going to get beat anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we've all been there,
If you're going to get beat anyway, save the pitches for another day.
Yep.
And it seems like now you see there's not as many blowout games, but that in the MLB, but the blowout game is a little closer than it used to be, and you start seeing position players pitching sooner, right?
They put in rules this year for that, and I don't know exactly what they are, but you have to be down by a certain number of runs or up by a certain number of runs before you can put a position player in.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it has to be after a certain inning as well.
Well, I guess I can appreciate that to some extent, but at the same time, if I'm down by 15 runs in the 4th inning, the odds of me coming back are not very good.
No. Not good at all.
So here we go. At the plate, Jacob Hall, the designated hitter. He's 0 for 2. Lined out to short and a 4-3. That was a curveball. It broke but stayed high for Watson. It's 1-1. And strike 2. Drop third strike, but they're going to get him at first base.
It's really good footwork by Steven to get around that ball and spin on that throw.
That's a lot harder thing to do, right, than people, I think.
Yes.
And then you also, the communication of going inside, outside, whatever.
Yep. But that one down the third base line is tough because if you run all the way around it, you take too much time. So the better way is to go straight at it and then spin back.
Jace Featherland at the plate. He's 0 for 2, struck out looking in the first inning, and a 4-3 put out in his second at bat. Curved down and out of the strike zone that time. That's one where you want him to chase it, right?
Yeah. He got that pitch the first time, too. It's pretty close to the same one.
There's a strike.
And there's an example where you see his fastball, though not overpowering. He gets it by him there because he's thinking about that curveball.
And the 2-2 pitch. Full count. Having some problems there. That one's way high for a walk. Featherland gets the walk with 1 out.
If I'm A-Town here, maybe thinking about putting a little pressure on the defense again.
Featherland is at first base after the walk. Justin Keener, the right fielder, struck out and lined out to right field. Two knows the count. I kind of feel like the strike zone just kind of shrunk a little bit.
Yeah, and I think Connor's been just a little bit erratic, and it's been tough for the umpire to get honed in on. There he goes.
2-1. Connor has definitely been all over the strike zone and outside of it too, but he's been on both sides of it.
Yeah, his misses are not around the zone. You tend to get more calls when they are.
Swing and a foul back. Keener's now evened it at 2-2. Or I should say Watson has, because Watson was behind 2-0. Fresh soft players out warming up.
Yep.
For A-Town. They got a pretty good group of kids. I mean, size-wise, numbers-wise.
They do.
In the dirt, Stuff will be a good job of keeping that in front of him and holding Featherland to first base. But it's a full count again.
See if they put the runner in motion here.
With 1 out, there's still a little bit of a question on whether you would, right?
Yeah.
They do not. That's foul down the right field line. Baker and Holdhouse giving chase, and Baker can't make the diving catch. It was in foul territory. Boy, he gave a lot of run and a lot of ground, but couldn't hold on to the ball. I think he got there, but couldn't catch it.
I actually didn't think he had a chance.
No, for a second I thought Holdhouse might have a better chance. But gave it a good try. So we're up to pitch number 7 here in this at-bat. And a walk.
This is something the Bombers have struggled a little bit this year with, is just walks. They've had a lot of traffic on the bases from this.
As a coach, there's not, I mean, when you know you have good pitchers, there's not, I mean, as a coach, there's not a whole lot you can do about that, right?
No, I mean, no, there really isn't.
And you're just along for the proverbial ride.
Right.
What would Coach Lambert maybe be talking about? Is settling Connor down a little bit here, or talking about the fact that we only have 1 out and runners on first and second? Or
I think what you're probably telling them, you're just giving them a break. It's been a little bit of a long inning. And also reassuring, hey, you're one pitch away here. We're a ground ball away from double play ball, and we're out of the inning. So, just trying to calm people down. Don't try to be too fine here.
the wind is, I thought maybe the wind would lay down a little bit when we got into the afternoon, but it's just not. Foul ball, heads up. 0-1's the count. Back in the day, when we'll go back to Little League again. People say, just throw a strike, get it across the plate, let up a little bit. It's hard to tell a varsity pitcher to do something like that.
Yeah, and that just no pitcher's trying to throw balls, So those types of, although you may think they're encouragement, sometimes just get under people's skin.
Right.
Create more frustration.
So we talked about the wind on the breaking ball. Is it blowing hard enough today for that to be any kind of a factor?
I wouldn't think today on a day like this.
Ground ball, going to get the lead runner, and that's it. So a 5 unassisted put out on Dawson Fenton. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I wouldn't think today it would have a big impact on it.
Jaden Rotifer coming to the plate. He's 0 for 3. Reached on an error in the third inning. Struck out in the first and walked in the fourth, or flew out in the fourth. Or in the fifth, excuse me. That's a base hit. That's probably going to be.
At least one.
Nope, they're going to hold him at second. It's going to be a single. Jaden Rotifer gets his first hit and an RBI. Now bring Kellen Hook to the plate. Kellen is 0 for 2 with a walk and reached on an error and scored a run in the fifth inning. We're at the top of the sixth here. And it's back to a 2-run game. That one curved back in for a strike.
Called it a ball.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, I'll just shut up now.
I think he just patted his chest, too, and said, my fault. So,
that's a foul ball, 1-1. I will admit that I was kind of turning around and watched it side-eyed, but it sure looked like it curved in pretty well from where I was looking at.
It looked like he pointed and said, my fault.
That one's in the dirt, 2-1. So runners on first and second here. Kellen Hook's at the plate. Justin Keener on second. Jaden Rotifer at first base. And A-Town having a lot more success against Connor Watson than they were having against Jack Duncan.
Yeah.
Which I guess Jack is the ace.
Yes, he is.
So, there's a ground ball up the middle. Duncan to Holdhouse, and that'll end the inning. A 4-3 put out ends it.
Minimize damage.
So they get 1 run on 1 hit again. 2 left. No errors. The end of 5.5. It's 5-3 Bombers. They'll have Braden Holdhouse, Hunter Wilson, and Trevor Krebs coming to the plate. Those guys are combined 0 for 6 in the game. They are the 6, 7, 8 hitters. Langdon Lambert had a double. He's the only guy below 5 in the lineup that's got a hit. Actually, there's nobody below 4 in the lineup that's got a hit.
Yeah.
So let's just not call out the other guys, I guess. But in all honesty, there's not been a whole lot of hits for either team.
No.
Only 4 hits for the Bombers.
I'd be interested to see how many of the runs that scored were walks. I would bet all but maybe 1 or 2.
4 hits for the Tornadoes. Let me see. Walk scored. Single scored. Hit by pitch scored. Walk scored. So 3. 3 of the 5 for the Bombers. 1, 2. 2 of the 3 for the Tornadoes are walks, and the other one's an error.
Yep.
So not a not a stellar defensive pitching performance for the teams today thus far. So.
Neither offense has really made either team pay for it either.
No. As they could have, you get 1 or 2 hits in those scenarios, right? And it's a completely different outcome. I mean, this is a 10-run maybe both ways if you take advantage of those things, or a couple of well-timed hits. Well, that last single by Rutherford down the line could have easily been a double in some situations.
Yes, yeah.
And because of the runners and because of who was ahead of him, it couldn't be that.
Couldn't get there, yeah.
So, if there'd have been 2 in second and third instead of first and second.
Yep, that's a totally different play.
Yeah. So it's just, not being able to get things going the right way. Neither team, even though they've had base runners, other than the Watson boys, nobody's really tried to take advantage of anything on the base paths either.
No, they have not. And I keep thinking you're going to see somebody either lay down a bunch or, hit and run or put people in motion a little bit more to break this open a little bit.
Braden Holthouse at the plate, 0 for 2. That's going to drop, I think, isn't it? It is.
Yep, it is.
I should have been giving him a hard time earlier, maybe. Braden Holthouse with a first pitch leadoff single. Well, that's Dawson Fenton still out there pitching.
He is.
They're going to use him up, I would imagine, is what that means, right?
Yeah. At this point in time, he's at his probably max days rest anyways.
So we'll probably see a pitching change somewhere maybe in the middle of an inning when he gets to his pitch count.
I would guess he's not going to throw the 7th if they make it there.
Ball low. Probably just hoping to get through this inning, right?
That would be my guess. Keep it here and give yourself a chance to tie it in the 7th.
Now, if somebody comes in and pitches 10 pitches, does he have to sit out a day, or can he come back the next day? What is the level? I can't remember.
30
30
is the number. If you stay under 30, you can throw the next day.
Players piled on top of each other trying to.
I think he took a ball to ribs, too.
Yeah. McDormand and Holthouse are down there talking right now. Holthouse is like, man, you got to catch that. What are you doing? You're killing me, Smalls. McDormand's like, hey, that's not my fault. There's the bunt you were talking about. It's popped up out of play, though. Hunter Wilson trying to lay a bunt down there. Hunter is 0 for 2 with a ground out to short in his first at bat, and he flew out to left in his second at bat. A lot less strikeouts on the Bombers' side of things, though. They put more balls in play.
Well, not surprising with Jack and Connor, you're going to have more strikeouts.
Featherland blocking another one in the dirt. I know you got a chest protector on, but the arms aren't protected.
No, they're not. There's plenty of exposed body there.
He's getting pounded on pretty good today. So you see Fenton looking back.
Yeah, some guys prefer looking over their back shoulder. They can see better.
And again, stepping out and fouling it off, back out of play. It's full count, 3-2. Boy, Fenton just is using up a lot of pitches, isn't he?
Done a really good job of battling, though.
His defense has been pretty good behind him. I
Yes,
mean, he hasn't.
No.
The Bombers are earning their runs, unfortunately for Fenton, but
Yep.
whereas a couple of these runs for the Tornadoes have been unearned because of the. Again, he steps out, but he's going to get a base hit. If it stays fair down the left field line, it's all the way to the fence. A one-hopper. Holthouse is going to round third. He's looking for home. He'll get there, and a stand-up double is going to be for Hunter Wilson. He got around on. He stepped out again. Man, he jacked it down the left field line. One-hopped it to the fence.
Hunter's got some raw power that you don't see a lot of. You wouldn't expect it.
Every run here is I would say
Critical.
big, right?
Yeah, it's really important.
And that might be the pitch count rule right there.
Yep.
Fenton's going to be out. Out of pitching. I don't know. What are we doing here? Looks like
17.
Jaden Rotifer coming in from center field to pitch. He did go down and warm up a little bit between innings,
Yep.
so. Man, that wind.
It is blowing.
I hope this is the hear what you hear and everybody at home has to listen to is the reason why we don't do very many of these games in the
I get
spring.
that. I understand it.
It's just so loud and windy. Well, that one was right across the straight. Now, as a pitcher, you coming into the game like that, you throw that first. Okay, I'm ready. Let's just let's just go. I don't want to waste any more strikes.
Yep.
Maybe that's because I wasn't very good, but.
Some guys don't like to throw many warm-up pitches. Other guys, they want a ton. Either way, he only gets 8.
Doesn't matter how many you want.
That's right.
You only get so
You get
many,
8.
right?
Yep.
Do they shy away from wanting them to take less than that?
No, they don't. Nobody forces you to do less, but they'll stop you at 8.
If you want to do 3, you can do 3.
You can do 3. That's right.
I suppose, I mean, if you warmed up in between innings and you're playing shortstop and you get a couple of balls hit to you and then, okay, you got to come in.
Yeah.
You don't need a whole bunch probably.
No.
It is a cool day, though. I mean, it's –
Yeah, it is, yep. It's a little warmer in the sun than it is here in the shade.
yeah, this is a nice little – I don't know what you'd call this, covered grandstand or what.
Yeah.
Pretty sturdy.
Been around a long time.
Phil Bradley Field.
Coach
Ken.
Lambert right here. I might be butting him over to third and try to steal another one.
Trevor Krebs to plate. He flew out to left field and struck out. Struck out in the first inning, flew out to left in the third inning. Hey, we got 3 balls and 3 strikes on the scoreboard. Looks like something I'd do. I tried to when we're in certain places and we've got the ability and there's not gonna bunt, they're just gonna steal.
Well, he squared last time and fouled it off, so went straight to the steal now. Now you got to bring the infield in.
Down by 3. I mean, you've scored 2 runs and 1 run in an inning. You can't really, can't get more than 3 runs down here and really have a good feeling about coming back, right?
Especially not with the way you've swung the bats. So.
Inside, 2-1. Any base runner at this point makes things a lot more difficult for A-Town too, right?
Yes.
Whether it's a walk, a hit, or whatever. Even if the infield is a swing and a miss there, 2-2. Even if the infield catches something and holds the base runner at third and still gets the out,
Still got another chance at it.
Yeah. And if you don't get the out at first by holding the runner, it's still a big problem. Now, in that situation, you bring the middle back and try to turn a double play, but you got Stufflebeam or Langdon Lambert coming up, so probably not.
I think at this situation, you just got to stay in and cut down any runs you can.
Got him looking. And Langdon Lambert, who had a double in the second inning, coming to the plate now.
Now I think if you're the runner on third, you're on the contact play. If it's on the ground, you're going. With nobody out, I think you see it through. Now I think you're more aggressive.
Man, Featherland. we've talked about some passed balls and wild pitches scoring some runs, but Featherland has saved us way more than than they've scored that way. He has stopped so many pitches today. Chased a high one, 1-1. Langdon's got speed.
A little bit. There it is. Really good AB right there.
Deep, caught, sacrifice fly.
That's
going to score one.
It's well executed. That was probably the best breaking ball he's thrown too, and he still kept his hands back and was able to get enough lift on it to get the sack fly.
Stufflebeam deep in the box and his toe right up on the line.
He's always back there.
And he looks to lay down a bunt, or at least fakes it
I was just
anyway.
getting ready to say, I can see Steven bunting for a hit right now.
And now he's drawing the corners in a little bit. That's what that does, right? I mean, even if there's a foul ball off the end of the bat, but even if you don't lay it down, now they're thinking, right? And they're kind of in a little bit, and it gives you another 2 or 3 feet on a hard hit ball.
Opens up the 6 hole right over there and even the line a little bit.
That breaking ball came in a little high. 2-1's the count. Not very often either. I mean, I know this isn't like in major leagues where the catcher's been catching for 20 years or whatever, but that's high as well, 3-1. It's not very often you see the catcher come up to lay down a bunt.
No, not many catchers run like Steven either, though.
Yeah, the point guard on the basketball, or a point guard on the basketball team and a catcher on the baseball field is not the normal combination, is it?
No, it is not.
And a walk. That's the first time on base for the day for Steven Stufflebeam. He's 0 for 3. He hasn't struck out. He grounded out to short in his first at bat, lined out to center, and then popped out to short in his third at bat. He's on base here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning.
I would say with almost certainty Steven's going here on one of his pitches. I think Drew's got to give him a pitch or two maybe to do it.
Not going to, though. He's going to line it right at third, and it's going to be caught for the 3rd out. That was off the handle a little bit.
It was.
So we're going to go to the top of the 7th. And I think that Rutherford stayed under his 30 pitches, right?
Yeah, I think he did, yeah. Yep.
So he'll get
he'd be all right anyways with it being Sunday tomorrow. They probably don't play.
yeah, that's true. He could play. Basketball, football, they all have their days for the most part, right?
Yep.
Baseball and softball
They just play.
Did you like having certain types of games, certain days, like put all the conference games on these days, which Prairie Land tries to kind of do now, but did you like that, or would you rather just scatter that stuff around?
No, I like it. I actually liked the old West Central way we had it, which was all our conference games were Tuesdays, Thursdays, starting after like the first week in April. And so you knew every Tuesday, Thursday you had to have your guys ready to throw, and it was less about then who had the best pitcher and about who had more of it. I think it judges more of your team that way. I think the Prairie Land does Saturday, Mondays, so it's a similar format.
Yeah. As we move through the season here, and you see all these teams, and then you get into the postseason with pitch count as it is and everything. How hard is postseason for high school baseball?
In high school baseball, the pitch count gets a little less restrictive once you get to the postseason. So I think the max then is 115, and so like if I throw today, if I throw 28, tomorrow I can only throw 90. That goes away in the postseason. So as long as you can meet your days of rest, you go right back up to the max. So there's even more layers to the pitch count stuff that people don't realize. These guys, if they threw 45 on Wednesday or so, they're going to be restricted to about 75 today. And people don't realize that, you can throw 105. No, there's still more restrictions even after the days of rest. But in the postseason, that goes away.
Why can't? I mean, they're trying to save arms or whatever,
Yeah.
but you've seen back in the day, like Dizzy Dean pitched
Yeah.
200 innings, right?
Right.
And I mean,
yeah.
I understand why they're doing it, but I think young kids didn't throw junk as much back. When you were a little kid, when did you start throwing junk?
I would say probably 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they have 8-year-olds trying to throw junk now.
Yeah.
And I don't think arms, especially developmental arms, are probably not really.
No. Although if you do it right, it's safe. Most people don't do it right at that age.
Carter Redfern at the plate. His team down 4 runs, 7-3 here, top of the 7th inning. And he almost chased one. He said no. They did.
If I'm A-Town here, I'm probably taking a strike, which he's already got one, but Connor struggled just enough with command today. I think you kind of have to.
And it's 1-2. Yeah, you got to make him, at least for a couple of base runners, right? You got to make him get you out. I can appreciate that.
You need at least 3 runners.
That curve back in, it's going to be a foul ball. Stufflebean comes to the fence, but goes out of play. Now, I thought I saw they were playing Lewiston today. Did they change that? Have you heard? Because of the storm or something? Or did I miss that wrong?
That might be. I think it was supposed to be Lewiston.
So then my next question is, I wonder if this is still a Prairie Land game, strike 3.
Well, A-Town is now in the
Oh, they're up north, aren't
Yeah.
they? That's right. I forgot about that.
I
The
think
Lincoln Trail or whatever.
Yeah, we replaced A-Town, actually. I think that's how Macomb got in.
Yeah, it's storms going through the area have been pretty bad here the last few weeks.
Yeah.
What did you guys do for school on last Tuesday or last Friday, I should say?
Friday we did remote day.
McDormand grounds out to third, Krebs to Lambert. And they're down to their final out. Drew Fouch coming to the plate. He's 0 for 3. Struck out looking in the first inning, grounded to third in his second at bat, and lined out to center in his third at bat. Connor Watson. Now it was 3-0, right? When Watson come in, so that means Watson gets the win, right?
Yeah, because Jack would not have gone enough innings technically to get the win.
Well, that's true. There's another line to center, and that one's going to drop for a single for Drew Fouch.
Out number 21 is always the hardest. Never fails.
Funny how that works, isn't
It
it?
is.
We've seen some rallies from the Tornadoes with 2 outs, though. I mean, it's been because of some help from the Bombers for the most part. Looks like a pinch runner is going to come in. Got to look at my lineup here to see who that is. Number 19 is Colby Hightower. Colby Hightower in at first to pinch run. That ball's low. 1-0.
In A-Town here, you're basically station to station. You got to have a bunch more runners. So
Yeah, stealing second doesn't do any good
No,
here, really, does it?
not.
And swing and a full swing bunt.
That's how it's gonna end.
That's how it's going to end. You don't see that very often.
No, you don't.
I was like, why is he running? That was a drop third strike. He must have hit it, though, huh?
Yep, hit it off the end, straight into the plate, and dribble it out in front of there.
That's something you don't see very often. Well, that's going to do it here from Macomb High School. The Bombers get a 7-3 win over the Tornadoes of Abington Avon, A-Town High School. So we will I'm still trying to decide if we're going to do the JV game or not. It's so stinking windy out here.
It is windy out here.
But we want to thank you guys for watching. Actually, I'm going to play a couple commercials. Are you in a hurry to leave?
Nope.
We'll play a couple commercials. I'll try to get a few quick stats, and we'll be back with some unofficial, at best, stats here for you from this 7-3 win for the Bombers over A-Town. You're watching Arnold Brothers Heating and Cooling coverage of Macomb High Sports on TSSR Game Time Live, presented by MDH.
After my appointment that day, I just made up my mind that I'm going to have my baby here in Macomb and this hospital, because irrespective of where you're from, who you are, it's just their line of duty to make sure they give care, make you comfortable.
I told about the staff of MDH. They're all good. You get all the support you need. This is just the best place for you and your family.
At Western Illinois University, leathernecks don't just blend in. Our purple stands out. Our students are innovative, creative, and resilient. At WIU, there's limitless potential, with campuses in Macomb, the Quad Cities, and online. Visit wiu.edu/potential to become a leatherneck and get an education that stands out.
Minimally invasive surgery offers a variety of benefits to the patient. We are now able to offer patients a variety of operations with small incisions rather than big open incisions. The surgeries that we can do now, minimally invasive, include bariatrics, hernia repair, colorectal surgeries, faster recovery, smaller incisions, faster time back to work.
All right, welcome back. We're here now with Wanda Foster, the Vice President of Nursing and Clinical Administration. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Well, what we're going to talk about today is some of the opportunities that are available at MDH for students, whether they be high school students, Spoon River College students, or Western students. MDH has a lot of opportunities to be involved and to learn, right?
We absolutely do. And we look so forward to having students here. We are a clinical site for Western Illinois University and their bachelor's program for nursing, as well as for Spoon River College nursing students and others that are doing some independent study. We welcome students, and we also encourage high school students. If you would like to learn more about nursing, we would love to meet with you. And there are opportunities at the hospital also where they can apply for jobs here, for positions. So we work closely with our nursing students, and we hope to recruit them and attract them and want to come back.
I know that publicly there's been a shortcoming or a shortage of nurses, right? And I know that every hospital and every nursing home and every clinical place period is searching for nurses. So how important is it for MDH to have these groups work with them, whether it be MDH or be Spoon River College or whatever the case may be? How important is it for MDH to then recruit those nurses to stay here and work as a profession?
It's very important. We want nursing students to feel very comfortable here, to enjoy their clinical experience and their opportunities here. And then we want them to feel very comfortable, to give them a good orientation. We hire new graduates, of course, into our acute care area as well as the intensive care unit. We hire new graduates in the emergency room, in home health and hospice, in our OB department, and our surgery department. These are all areas that new graduates can come into. We certainly give them a robust orientation. No one starts on their own until they feel completely ready. They have a mentor certainly with them, and we want to give them the best start for success that we can. And then there are many areas of specialty they can choose to go into. Nursing is a very unique field. You can work full-time, you can work part-time if you need to take time off for some reason. It's a field that you can kind of step into a little bit more than maybe some other fields in healthcare. We also have scholarships available through our auxiliary, through the hospital, and then once someone is an employee here, we do have some tuition reimbursement. So we will certainly help with that.
And going back to the scholarships and the shortages that are across the board, not necessarily at MDH, but
everywhere.
Right? So everywhere. This is a profession that you can make a good living at and be pretty sure to have a job, right? So
absolutely.
This is a profession that high schoolers that are playing these sporting events or high schoolers that are watching these sporting events should consider, I would imagine.
Yes, very much so. You will always be assured to have a job, a career in nursing. I hate to call it just a job because you really want someone on that career path who has that passion for caring for people, for providing nursing care. Through your education and through your orientation, we can teach you your skill set. But if you have that passion and the desire to be in the nursing profession, you will do fine.
Yeah, a career and a job, while they might be listed as the same thing, they're really not, correct? I mean, if your career is being a nurse, you're probably going to enjoy it a lot more than if it's a job, right?
That's right. And you don't go into it first and foremost for the money. You go into it because that's what you want to do with your life. And
yeah, we cut that McDonough District Hospital halftime interview, which is kind of a in-game interview to get some stats ready. And these are unofficial and done very quickly, but A-Town 5 hits, 6 walks. Rotifer was 1 for 4. Hook was 0 for 3 with a walk. He reached on an error and scored a run. Carter Redfern was 1 for 3 with a walk. Evan McDormand 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs, which officially probably that was 2 of those came after an error.
Yeah.
So technically not an RBI.
They're still RBIs.
Still RBIs, but
not
not earned
earned
runs.
runs.
Yeah, there we go.
RBIs.
There we go.
Yep.
1 for 4 for Drew Fouch, 0 for 4 for Jacob Hall, 0 for 2 for Jace Featherland with a walk and a run. And Justin Keener 0 for 2 with a walk. As I said, they had 6 walks on the game. Steven Stuffelbeam 0 for 3 with a walk. Drew Watson 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Jack Duncan 0 for 0, a walk, a hit, 2 walks, a hit by a pitch, and 3 runs scored. That's an odd line, right?
It is.
Connor Watson 1 for 2 with a walk and 2 RBIs. Brady Baker 0 for 2 with a walk, a sack. Actually, he's 0 for 1. Sacrifice isn't in that bat, right?
Correct.
0 for 1, a walk, a sack, and 1 RBI. Braden Holdhouse 1 for 3 with a run scored. Hunter Wilson 1 for 3, 1 RBI and a run scored. Trevor Krebs 0 for 3, and Langdon Lambert 1 for 1 with a sacrifice and 1 RBI. Bombers had 6 hits and 5 walks, so just kind of flipped it back. 7 innings, 6 walks, probably more than you want to give up, but could have been a lot worse, I suppose.
Yeah.
Bombers get 5 walks in 6 innings. So, I mean, as you look through there, 7-3 ends up being the score, but you look at the hits and the walks, and it doesn't seem like it's a 7-3 game.
No, I think the game really came down to just timely hitting. You know, Macomb had a couple more timely hits with guys on base than A-Town did, and you know, although both teams had a lot of traffic, a lot of times that's what the game comes down to, just 1 or 2 key at bats. And I thought Lambert's at bat there with the sac fly was really important. Hunter Wilson's at bat there late in the game was really important because that stretched the game out to where now it's a 4-run lead, and you know, it kind of takes the sails out of A-Town a little bit.
Well, the pitching was, I don't know if it was great, but it was A-Town being able to get pretty much the full 6 innings out of one pitcher. If he'd have got a little help maybe behind him and maybe threw a few less walks, it's a different ballgame.
Yeah, it's a totally different game. Yeah, if you can just keep some of that traffic off there, you know, those hits maybe score 1 run. And then you go back to the play with, you know, Connor at shortstop, which, you know, saved a run or 2 in that inning where they left the bases loaded. You know, those types of things matter a lot. But if you can keep that traffic off there, you know, it really diminishes what the other team can do.
You know, the other thing that you talked about several times is you talked about getting base runners moving. The Bombers did a better job of that. They, you know, the Watson boys were looking to run and guys were looking to move and advance, whereas A-Town, when they had base runners, didn't have the right base runners to make that happen.
Yeah, and I thought, you know, there was times there where, you know, if you're struggling to get offense going and you've got 2 good arms that you know you're going to see, you know, sometimes you got to force action a little bit and you got to get people in motion, whether it be through bunting or, you know, hitting and running and those types of things, because, you know, the chances of them stringing together hits today for either team weren't great. So I thought Macomb took a little more advantage of that.
Well, we're going to skip out on the JV game today, I do believe. The wind seems to have died down now, but we thought that earlier too, and it started blowing back up. And I don't know how bad it is for the folks at home, but in our ears, it's a constant it's a constant whistle.
Yes,
so
it is.
I want to thank Tegan Perry for running the camera today. Coach Boehner, you're welcome for any sports that we do that you want to come hang out. You're welcome to do that.
Well, I'm at most of them, so if you ever need me, just signal, and I'll be glad to come on over.
Okay, well, that sounds great. So for Coach Boehner, I'm Dwayne Hulett. Thanks for joining us here, our first spring broadcast of the season. The Bombers get a 7-3 win over the A-Town Tornadoes in a non-conference matchup. And again, didn't talk to anybody about, I think Lewiston did get hit by the tornado. I don't know if they're still trying to recover from that from the earlier in the week or not, but I don't think there was any fatalities down there. Were some injuries, but man, their baseball fields and football field got tore up bad.
That's just terrible what happened there, and really think about all the people there and hope they can get things back together.
So that'll do it from Macomb High School, Phil Bradley Field. The Bombers get a win. You've been watching TSSR Game Time Live and Arnold Brothers Heating and Cooling coverage of Macomb High sports here from Macomb High School. We'll see you again very soon.